Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Talk Back with Daddy's Girls. My name is Cynthia Graham, and I'm your host.
My name is Lynette Patton, and I am your co-host, and we are so happy that you are joining us for this broadcast where our mission is to inspire, to educate, motivate, and empower all.
So, what we were thinking about, because this is the end of the year,
Yes.
most people are starting to think about New Year's resolutions. But in praying about this situation, we realized that it's time to make lifetime resolutions.
Exactly.
So today, that's where we want to come from, that perspective, lifetime resolution.
Exactly, because what we know is that a lot of times around this time, we're trying to figure out what we want next year to look like. And we start, planning for the upcoming year and the things we want to change. And, it's been said that by March, people have given up on their New Year's resolutions and they've just kind of gone back to life as usual. And it's our goal to inspire and to empower our listeners and our audience to keep at it, to keep at it. This is a lifetime journey, not to give up.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I know I'm guilty of that. Usually, if I make a resolution, say a quote unquote New Year's resolution,
Exactly.
by the middle of January, I'm like, oh Lord, I don't forgot about my New Year's resolution. But we're going to take a different perspective moving forward, and we want you to go on that journey with us as lifetime resolutions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this episode, we want to talk about finances. We researched the three major areas that people are looking to make changes, and one was finance
And health.
and spiritual growth. Yeah. So we're going to start this episode with finances, and our guest today is who's joining us. Her name is Lorraine Rue. Lorraine Peterson Rue is from Buffalo, New York, and she came to Washington, D.C. to attend college at Howard University, where she obtained her bachelor's and her master's degree in social work. She worked in social work for 30 years with the district government and retired and thought that she was going to take a break. She thought she was going to travel. She thought she was just going to enjoy her time. But God had other plans, and so she ended up joining a financial services company, and I will allow her to share her testimony as to, that journey. And she is also a financial coach as well. She's been a financial coach for 26 years. And in addition to being a financial coach, she's been a ministry leader for her church, where she has taught and led the Crown Biblical Financial Studies for the past 13 years, and is currently teaching Ramsey Financial Peace University course as well. So welcome, Miss Lorraine.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you on. So tell us, how did you get into financial services coming out of social work? How did you make that transition? What happened?
Well, as you indicated, my plan was to just travel and shop. And my oldest daughter, I retired at the end of March that year. And in the beginning of April, she said, well, Ma, since you want to travel and shop, come go with me to a trip to South Carolina. And I said, okay, fine. We went on this trip to South Carolina, attended an event which they call the Black Family Reunion. And what I saw there was all the people looked just like me and you, and they had two things in common. One, they were all interested in improving their quality of life. And two, they were all interested in helping other people. And I said, social work, that's what social work is all about anyway,
Right.
profession. So after that event, I joined with the company, and I've been doing it ever since. It's been 26 years, and it's the best social work that I know, because I truly believe that if you can help people get their financial house in order, that's going to help solve a whole lot of these other problems that we find in our communities. Because when you bottom line it out, it turns out to be all about money or not ever. That's how I got started.
All right. Awesome. 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 So now let me ask you something. We're going to go ahead right into our question for you. So tell me, if someone had a desire to make a lifetime resolution in finances, what would be the three things or the three key areas that you would tell them to start? Where should they focus?
Well, the three areas where they would focus most would be, the first would be on budgeting, the second would be on debt, and the third would be on saving and investing.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about the budgeting. How does that?
Well, I'd like to ask you and the audience a couple questions before we get into the budgeting.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, ma'am.
I just want you to think about what would your life be like if you had no payments?
Oh, Jesus. That'd be freedom. I'm about to run around this room. Freedom.
No credit card payments, no car note, no home equity loan.
That's the way to go.
Those notes. What would that look like for you?
Oh, beautiful.
Awesome.
Like freedom.
Like Lynette said, freedom. That's exactly what it would look like.
Okay, and so then you could, if you're talking about being free, then how much money could you save and invest?
That's something to think
That's
about.
a good question. Yeah, that's a really good question.
How much could you just use to go out and have fun?
Probably too much.
How would you give to your community and your church?
Yeah.
Yes,
freedom.
Yes.
Every dollar that you brought home represented an opportunity for the future instead of an obligation for the past.
Ooh.
Isn't that that you want to talk about? You want to talk about lifetime resolutions.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Being free. You know, the Bible tells us that the borrower is slave to the lender. And
true.
we really don't want to go there, do we?
No, we don't.
Absolutely. But you know, you asking me about budgeting, but we need to talk first about the need for every financial plan. It needs to be built on a strong foundation, which is life insurance.
Okay.
Most people don't want to talk about life insurance because it involves dying, and that's not a pleasant subject for us.
Right.
But we need to make sure that, well, the whole purpose of life insurance is income replacement.
Yes.
It's not just for burial, it's to replace the loss of the income. God forbid a breadwinner dies prematurely. To make sure that we have the right type of life insurance, the right amount of coverage, and that we're not paying too much. One of the things that really, I guess, motivated me even further to get involved with financial services was that I was approached about my life insurance, which was sold to me on my good government job. And I was told that I could have my life insurance and I could have my savings. I could have both, which was great for me because I was not a saver, I was a spender.
Right.
And because they were going to take my payment and it would cover my savings and my life insurance, I was great with that. But never once did they tell me that in order to, well, the first thing was the savings, I was not going to accumulate any money in my savings for 2 to 4 years. They didn't tell me that. Nor did they tell me that when my savings started accumulating that I would get 2 to 4% interest. And then if I wanted to get my money out, this was one of the clinchers, that I was going to have to borrow it because I had sense enough to know that if you have to borrow something, it doesn't belong to you. And then cash.
Wow. That's good.
Right.
That's good.
That really got me stirred up about this life insurance thing. So you need to that's why I'm saying you need to make sure that you have the right type of life insurance. And that
Okay.
insurance that they sold me was a cash value life insurance. And that is not what I would recommend for people who are looking to become debt free and financially independent. People don't need life insurance their whole life, but you should be to become self-insured. And if you have money, you don't need life insurance. And if you need life insurance, that's all you need as much as when you had a whole lot of responsibilities, when you had young children, when you had a house note, you had debt and all of that.
Right.
So that's major in terms of financial things.
Okay, so
That's
now that we
awesome.
got the foundation set, let's talk about this budgeting. I'm horrible at budgeting. You know, I'm really just horrible at
Yes,
it.
indeed.
So
I'm in the same boat.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
No, I was just saying I'm in the same boat as Lynette. That budgeting thing, I haven't gotten that. Not even the start of it.
Yeah, well, we do need to have a budget, and the budgeting is a way for you to take control of your finances. And what we want to talk about briefly is a zero-based budget. That's a budget where you take your income, you minus all of your expenses, and it equals zero.
mm,
Now,
I don't like the way that sounds.
most people, when they start looking at compiling a zero-based budget, what do you think they're going to end up with?
well, when I started it, mine was under zero. I was in the negative.
Exactly. That's exactly where most people are. So this zero-based budget is going to require that you repeatedly, consistently look at your expenditures and adjust them accordingly
Mm,
to end up having zero. It may mean that you need to stop eating out to cut back on those expenses. It may mean that you need to take a part-time job, to increase your income. But the goal should be to have zero once you indicate your income minus your expenses. It should all equal zero.
So when you're working with individuals working on their budget, where do you find that they have the hardest time? Where do you find that they struggle the most? What area?
They struggle most in the area of spending money on things that they want and not need. Not being content with what you have, what it's wants versus need, and that's where most people go off course. It's the wants that they want to satisfy.
You know, yeah, I was reading something to say that, it's really about behavior modification,
Mindset change.
Yeah, mindset change. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the other areas you talked about was budgeting. What's another area that people want to focus on?
On debt.
That's major.
And when we talk about debt, what gets us into trouble is the interest rate. Basically, there's two different types of interest. One is the fixed interest rate, and the other one is the revolving interest rate. And if you had to pick, say which one is better or which one is good, I would say that the fixed interest rate is the one where your debt is good debt, because you know exactly how much you're going to pay each month. You know exactly when you're going to be out of debt in that particular expenditure. When you talk about fixed rate interest rates, you're talking about your mortgage, you're talking about your car note.
Okay.
When you talk about revolving, you're talking about these credit cards.
Wow. Yeah.
The interest can range depending upon your credit worthiness. It can range anywhere from 7% if you have good credit, or it can range to 24, 28% if
Right.
you're not so credit worthy. So, and you are constantly paying off the interest as opposed to the principal, so that it takes you forever to get out of debt. Let me
Right.
give you
Mhm.
an example of what I learned early on. They gave me an example in class of a person who had a $3,000 credit card debt. The interest rate was 19%. It was revolving, and they were paying the minimum payment on that $3,000. It was going to take them 39 years to pay off
Wow.
Wow. Scary.
$3,000 in debt, and they would actually have paid $10,000 in interest alone.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow. That's scary. I
It,
bet you they didn't know that when they took that credit card out.
no, and neither did I. And
Oh,
I told you guys that, I love to travel and I love to shop. And I would be every weekend, I was in somebody's shopping center or shopping mall, and I was not window shopping.
Mhm.
I thought that I was okay financially because I paid my bills on time. I
mm,
had over $16,000 worth of credit card debt. And when I did that math, that it would take 39 years,
wow.
2000, I would have been almost 150 years old
Wow.
trying to get out of debt. That
Oh,
was a major, major motivation
yes.
for me to get out of debt. And I can say right now that I praise God that I am debt free and financially independent.
Well,
Awesome.
really quickly, Miss Lorraine, tell us how did you get out of debt? If someone's looking to get started, what's a quick step that they can take?
Well, it's going to start with having your budget and dealing with the debt using a strategy, a debt elimination strategy. And the strategy that I'm most familiar with is called the snowball strategy, where you list all of your debt and who you owe, what your balance is, the amount of interest rate, not state interest rate, your annual percentage rate, and your minimum monthly payment. You
Mhm.
have that all laid out in front of you. What you want to do is take the one that you owe the least amount to. You pay that debt until it's paid off. Once that one is paid off and you continually to pay your other debts at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
pay off that minimum that one was which was the lowest, you take that amount that you were paying, let's say that was $50 that you paid every month.
Mm-hmm.
Take that $50, put it on the next lowest one. Maybe you'll pay $100 on that one. So now that new payment becomes $150 a month. And
Okay.
that process going. And what that will do for you, it is going to save you years in terms of the time it takes you to get out of debt and thousands of dollars in interest alone.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
That's awesome.
Isn't that?
That is so awesome. So for someone who is thinking about a New Year's resolution as far as finances are concerned, this is a strategy for a lifetime resolution where they can actually change their entire life, and it's a process. But when I believe what you saying with what you're saying, Miss Lorraine, if they took hold and grabbed hold to what you just told us about budgeting and about paying off the debt and about the snowball effects, I believe that they would definitely within the next couple of months see themselves in a different financial space. Mm-hmm. And that's phenomenal. That information, and even the information that you shared with us about the insurance. I think that a lot of our people, people of color, we have actually looked at a life insurance policy as just that, a way to pay for the funeral. but we have to change our mindset in this new season. You know, we have to start thinking about it on a broader scale so that we can build generational wealth. Am I right, Ms. Lorraine? And be able to strategize, because you know the other thing that I want to touch on is this. You talked about insurance. You know what? And unfortunately, I think that our people, unfortunately, have started using this GoFundMe as an insurance policy. And I think that we need to change our mentality as it concerns that.
Absolutely.
Because it should definitely be so much greater.
Absolutely.
That too, but you know what? It's lack of education. Am I right, Ms. Lorraine?
That's correct.
Lack of education. And this is what we are here to do. To educate, to inspire, to motivate, to empower people to learn a new way, you know, do things differently.
Absolutely. I was listening to her about that debt snowball, and you know, I'm a spender too, you know, so I know that as I'm, you know, on this process to get out of debt, when I'm getting ready to pay off one thing, my brain is automatically thinking about what I could spend it on. It's not going towards putting it to the next debt so I can, you know, go through this process and get it, you know, get rid of it completely, and then I would have that freedom. And my brain is trying to experience this little bit of freedom now. You know, I'm already thinking, ooh, what can I buy? What can I spend? You know, I have a list of stuff I want to, you know, purchase. And, you know, we're in a microwave society now that we want things now. You know, to be able to wait and to save and to take that time can be challenging. So that's some good information. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So now let me.
Oh, you all are looking at lifetime resolutions, and it is going to require not only a change in your mindset, but in your lifestyle, your behavior.
Right.
Able to reach that goal of being debt-free and financially independent, and to have the freedom that we all would like to have.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. You know, I was just thinking about one of our speakers on our last episode. She said, take it one day at a time. You know, one day at a time. So as we go into closing, give us some inspiration. Give those that are listening some inspiration as they desire to make that lifetime resolution. You know, what would you share with them? How can they, you know, continue in the journey, as we talked about, as people begin to make changes? You know, some people get, you know, frustrated and they just quit, or some people don't even get started because maybe they've tried and just never has been successful. What kind of encouragement would you give to our audience today?
I think that one of the major things that a person would need to do would be to have a accountability partner. They would need to have someone who they trust to partner with them as they do their budget and can hold them accountable each step of the way. Because you fall off the wagon, you're going to need help getting back on. But I think having that accountability partner is going to be key to help you stay focused as you go on the journey.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, once you begin to pay off the debt, you need to be focusing on saving and investing. And the areas that you need to be saving and investing is, to start off with, you need to have your emergency fund. Your immediate emergency fund. You were getting ready to stop me?
No, I said,
Oh, you said, okay. Well, that first emergency fund needs to be $1,000. Then as you pay down your debt and you're able to free up money to save and invest, then your ongoing emergency fund needs to be 3 to 6 months of your expenditure.
Got you.
Depending on whether or not you are a home buyer or not. If you're a home buyer, you need 6 months. If you're not a home buyer, we recommend that you do 3 months. We recommend that you start planning for your children's college education and also to take at least 15% of your income investing for retirement. And all of this, when we're talking about saving and investing, you need to do some research. You need to make sure you're looking at reputable companies. You need to make sure that you're looking at the interest rates. Interest rates are important, not only when you're looking at debt, but also when you're looking for it to compound as far as saving and investing. And I'll just share this with you as a last point, is that there's something called the Rule of 72. Rule of 72 is Albert Einstein rule, and it simply says this: if you take 72 divided by any interest rate, it will tell you exactly what point your money will double, meaning what $1 will become $2.
Wow.
If you had your money in a financial institution that paid 3%, and we're not talking about banks right now because they're almost zero.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking about that 1%. It'd take me a lifetime to get to $2.
It would take you 72 years at 1%. But if they were giving you 3%, 3% divided by 72 equals what? Equals 24.
24, yeah.
24 years for $1 to become $2.
Wow.
If you invested your money in the American economy, the same way the financial institutions is what they do, and you get, let's say, 12%, applying the rule of 72, 72 divided by 12 equals 6. That means in 6 years, your money is going to double. The banks don't have a problem giving you that 1 or 3%, because they have made thousands and thousands of dollars on your money when you can take your money, bypass them, and do the same.
Wow, that is great. That is awesome.
Yes,
that is awesome.
Yes,
that
it
is awesome.
Yes, it is. So now that we have come to this space where we know, we've been educated.
That's right.
We've been motivated to do the right thing. Now we have to change our mindset and make sure that in moving forward, we incorporate all the things that we have learned today so that we can step into a place of financial freedom.
That's right.
And a lifetime financial freedom.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Right. So, Miss Lorraine, we cannot, like, you have given us such food for thought.
Absolutely.
We are going to, I know for me, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm definitely going to look into and start trying to implement some of the things that you shared with us today, because that is one of my goals, is for a financial resolution moving forward, so that I can create a space for generational wealth for my family. Thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you so very much.
You are amazing.
So are you, and if there's anything I can do to help, feel free to call on me.
Thank
we
you.
Will. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So that was phenomenal.
That was awesome.
She definitely gave me a lot of food for thought.
I know. I was just sitting there like, oh my goodness, and it doesn't sound like anything that's really too challenging,
Well, it might not be challenging for you, but it's challenging for me because my mindset is not there. But that's my desire, is to have a mindset change so that I can get it together. I'm like Miss Lorraine. With the shopping, not so much the shopping anymore as it is the desire to just do things.
To experience that freedom before we're free. Exactly.
That's a good way. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Experience that freedom before you're really free.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's been my struggle. And I've had to just continue to tell myself that if I spend it now, I'm not going to have it to put towards my debt later. And it's just going to prolong that imprisonment that we're so desperately trying to get out of. And we're just digging ourselves deeper into a hole. So, that's how I keep my mind, to be able to make those little sacrifices every day when I want to go eat out, or when I want to, spend more, get more groceries than what I actually need, and as the wintertime comes, I like to have a refrigerator and a cabinet full of food because I don't like going out in the cold. But, but that budgeting helps me, because when I look at what I've spent, I have to say, no, you can't. No, you don't have the money for that. No.
So we just want to thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Financial Resolutions, as we are on this journey for the new year and for the for our lifetime, just wanting to live a better, productive, and fulfilling life. We're no longer thinking about a New Year's resolution, but we're thinking about a lifetime resolution.
Yes, and we hope that this information that was shared today, we hope that it will encourage you to just take the first step. Just take a step forward to accomplishing your goals and your dreams for your life.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.